It is 1,646 datedly murdered in the line of duty on Fort Bliss, as confirmed by the DoD, the Department of Defense. That's very important. And more information is coming out. Let's see. Okay. So, sorry, it's so late again. We're burning the midnight oil, but that, it can't be helped. Things are so different, and it's in a really good way. It's just that I'm coming on at midnight. I wish I would come on in the morning when you, um, but things are really happening behind the scenes because everything is different now, isn't it? We have a new president. He's the boss. He is the boss. He's the chief magistrate, right? He's the chief magistrate. He is the chief law enforcer. He is the commander in chief. Things are different now. Things are very, very different now, and people are being fired. People are being assigned different tasks to different locations. They are ordered to get to work. They're no longer allowed to sit at home. Um, there is also something that is not clearly understood yet, and that we are very happy to relay, and that is that kicking the can, that obstructing justice is not going to work anymore. It's not going to work. Transparency in the government, doing your job, answering um, the inquiries, uh, you know, um, like I said, doing your job. Law enforcement is it's the golden age. It's the golden age now. And so we have been given that confirmation over and over again that, there is a transition time, but it is going so fast, much faster than what we ever thought. Um, and so we have a lot of paperwork here from the new the new status of Richard, and it's going very, very fast. To know that the Department of Defense knows and has confirmed that Richard, an active duty Fort Bliss whistleblower soldier reporting on criminal trafficking, was murdered in the line of duty on Fort Bliss. That's very important to know. And more information is coming out about his personal belongings. More information is coming out connecting his case with the Santa Teresa International Jetport, and those flights, unauthorized flights from that jetport, and who the pilots are. That's all coming out. The connection to the El Mayo detention. And, I just want to clarify something. El Mayo is a billionaire narco cartel leader. Um, of course, when you're into trafficking narcotics, you're into trafficking just about everything else, right? It just all goes together. And and we are in no way in favor of the criminals, but the problem is that if you don't follow the rule of law and follow the rule of law in the justice system, especially, right? Um, where, there should be no excuses, especially in a detention or, of a very high profile criminal like Ishmael El Mayo Zamhada. Um, y- then how are we any different from, the chaos of a criminal's life? There has to be, God is a God of order. God is a God of law, and things have to be law and order. Law and order, because that's God. That's where we get our freedom. That's where we get our even our rest, our rest, and our joy, and um, our peace amongst each other. That's where we get it through God's law and order. God is a God of law and order, period. And so when we detain or want to arrest or extradite a major criminal like El Maya, we need to do it right. And when we are, and I'm getting to the Walmart mass shooting case, right? Because Richard's case is connected to the illegal and unauthorized chief medical examiner. Also, Mario Raskin Ortiz, um, connected to the Santa Teresa port of entry, and the jet port, Um, that with Ray Velarde, the attorney of El Mayo, being assigned to Richard when Richard was framed. And then that connects that, and there's more that connects that with the planes. Okay, there's more that connects Richard's case with the planes, and of course, Deborah Sarah West was always um, uh, a major suspect in Richard's case. Absolutely, Sarah. She was from the very beginning, Deborah Sarah West and her mother, Corinne West, or whatever her name is, and witches and this and that, and the deception, and then the backstabbing. And, it's just crazy, those involved. Um, It's just really crazy. Anyway, so Deborah Sarah West, yes, we know that she's a pilot. We know that she was teaching Dallas Hart. We know that she is definitely connected to the Santa Teresa International Jetport, and and there are others, and there are others. So that's all coming out, and I can, you know, put that information out. Also, to the Walmart mass shooting. Now, the Walmart mass shooting, we have been investigating heavily because we knew that it was connected to Richard's unit. It is tied to Richard's unit. It has been confirmed to be tied to Richard's unit through 3905 Bliss Avenue. We have been very transparent in that with Danae Katzen Gonzalez Ambrice, with Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, with Jonathan Caleb Ambrice, also connected to Richard's unit. Um, and Dallas Hart and Leilani Hart, and um, you know, um, just criminals, right? Just absolute criminals in this, and connected to, that connects the Walmart mass shooting and Richard's case, also with KTSM. With KTSM. And so, and of course, Leilani Hart with the Walmart case connects with Bob Moore of El Paso Matters. And they have peddled disinformation, they have peddled fake news, they have covered up for their crime that they were involved in. And if, and it seems like if they're involved, and it seems like it, And it ties to the Mexican cartels that are now um, designated as terrorist organization. They're looking into, they're facing death penalty charges, right? They're facing death penalty. And so Bob Moore came out yesterday. I believe it was yesterday, the 27th. Is that correct? Yeah. Well, yeah. So we're burning the midnight oil. So I guess it's day before yesterday now. Day before yesterday, he came out with an article about the Walmart mass shooting being frozen. They're freezing it there. They do not want to abide by their schedule. It's all, they're just all freezing it right now. So we are way over 5 years with the Walmart mass shooting. And, 5.5 years for the Walmart mass shooting, for a shooting that is supposed to have been one perpetrator, right? That walks in, that is caught on camera, all these witnesses that um, has Ernest Christopher Grant that gets shot two times in the abdomen and, recovers very, very, very quickly, which is very suspicious because he's up to no good. He's absolutely up to no good, y'all. He's a ghost. Let me tell you, Ernest Christopher Grant, they don't want you to know who he is. Okay? They don't want you to know who he is. So I don't know. I don't know if he's connected to so and so and so and so. Anyway, I have my thoughts on all that. But he was arrested at the White House with by Secret Service. Um, and there's just really strange things that happen that, okay, I just try to stick with the facts. And the facts are that Beto O'Rourke went to go visit him in the hospital after the Walmart, and they had that El Paso Strong, which is, pretty catchy. I like El Paso Strong, Army Strong, El Paso Strong, you know, is it, are the perpetrators military then? Army Strong, El Paso Strong, Anyway, yeah. So, Beto O'Rourke visited him, and of course, Chris Cuomo visited him, and it always gives me the shivers when I see Chris Cuomo on TV. It seems like he's been defending President Trump lately. I don't know if there was a deal made. I don't know. I don't know because he was really up to no good after that Walmart mass shooting. And, President Trump is the boss. He knows, he knows he's a seasoned politician now. He is a seasoned politician and a seasoned president and a seasoned um, magistrate, the chief magistrate, and a seasoned um, commander in chief, and a seasoned chief law enforcer, right? So, it's very interesting to um, to pray, um, to pray because you have to pray for discernment to see what is happening, and you know them by their fruit, right? That's what I get back. You know them by their fruit, and remember that dream I had about the mustard seeds. I don't know if you've been watching from the beginning, but from the beginning, when I was going to El Paso, we were driving to El Paso from Florida. It was a long drive. I love to take those drives. It was amazing. I love to see the country, and I had this dream, that there were going to be all these mustard seeds everywhere, strewn all over the land, and that they would germinate and they would germinate and they would grow and they would grow into these thousands of trees, thousands of trees. Um, And and I saw that as a very, it was so peculiar. It was a good I knew it was good. I knew it was a really good sign. And now I'm kind of understanding it because the truth is coming out. Each one of those seeds is a nugget of truth, right? Is a seed of truth. And when you let it, when you germinate it, when you take care of it, when you investigate it, when you document it, when you file it, and more truth comes, it just grows into these beautiful trees. And now we understand the terror that the cartel has had, that developed into the El Paso cartel and poured into our military. And that's being addressed right now. The open border allowing all of this criminal trafficking, and really compromising our El Paso, um, our beautiful El Paso. And President Trump was saying today that he has opened the spigots up in California, and that Southern California is going to have beautiful water now. Enjoy the water. And I wrote him and I said, we also need water and justice to flow into El Paso. Water and justice to flow into El Paso. Because I remember as a girl, there was a lot more water there. Um, and of course, a lot more justice. And I know that crime's been happening for a long time, but it got out of hand. It got totally out of hand. Um, and it has spilled over into places that uh, uh, become a national security threat. That threatens our whole country. And because all that trafficking went everywhere, it went all over the place. When you look at the Sinaloa cartel, they're all over the United States, right? And I'm sure it goes way beyond the United States. The trafficking goes beyond the United States. And so what they were doing is really a national security threat. And that's why Beto O'Rourke uh, took that Walmart mass shooting case, which um, totally wrong narrative, totally, um, fake news peddlers, pedal pushers like Bob Moore, um, with Ernest Christopher Grant and KTSM, and that to push out this narrative about Patrick Crusius that is very false, very false. And the reason why I can say that is because uh, Joe Spencer told me so. And those audio recordings, we try to get them out to everybody. We just, things have been happening so fast to get all of that out, and we have to address all the different things that we think we have to address, and all the letters we have to write, and all finding everybody's email and addresses, and what the right connection is, and all of that. So we try to be as transparent as we possibly can. And Joe Spencer and his audio recordings that we have, that we want to give to everybody, they should belong to everybody, because he has charged the people millions of dollars, federally and statewide, and millions of dollars for just a few hearings, and just delay. And, he has no excuse at all, because do not forget that Joe Spencer went to the federal court and told the federal court that and we have this on recording also, in his own words, and said that he doesn't need any more time. He has everything. He has everything, so much. He's looked at all of the evidence, so much so that he could plead his client out to 90 life sentences. 90 life sentences to hate crime, um, uh, to murder, to hate crime. 90 life sentences, 9,000 years. I made a song that said 1,000 years. It should have said 9,000 years, but 1,000 years, 9,000 years, 9,000 years in prison. You know, and he did that to Patrick Crusius, knowing, it's saying to the federal court that he had all the information. Enough. He had enough. He had it all enough that he could do that to his own client. He should be so disbarred, y'all. He should be so disbarred because that was years ago. And now it's delay, delay. Oh, I need more time. I need more time for the state case, just to squeeze more dollars out of El Paso. And what does Bob Moore do? He pedal pushes. He pedal pushes fake news with the pedal pushers of fake news, right? With Danae Katzen, with Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, with Leilani Hart. Pedal pushes fake news, fake stories, unreliable. That's his company that he keeps, the criminals. Leilani Hart is a convicted criminal. Danae is a criminal. Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia is a criminal. They're criminals. And Leilani Hart, the worst type of criminal, where she facilitates the exploitation of the worst type of crimes on children. Okay? That's not me saying it. I'm not I'm not the one saying that. That is her confession in her notarized affidavit. She has to be arrested. She has to be arrested. And this is the company with the likes of, do you remember that vile, vulgar person? What was her name? Amber Chase. This is a company that Bob Moore keeps. This is this is who he uses to peddle push his fake news. And 2 days ago, it was so bad because guess what he was pedal pushing? The whole white supremacy um, narrative again. The whole white supremacy narrative again. And okay, you know that that occurs sometimes. That occurs sometimes. I understand, you know, but not in this case. Not in this case. No way. Because how do I know that? Because Joe Spencer said it. Joe Spencer in the audio recording said it. And so did Loretta Lynn Hewitt. Okay, so when and of course, my training then discerns if what they're saying is correct. And being in education, spending time with autistic individuals, being trained to spot and evaluate the learning and the personalities of your students so that you could teach them the best way possible, and 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 having to teach autistic individuals even up to teenagers, uh, you know, you can spot them pretty easily. And before it ever came out, and Bob Moore was saying, no, he's not autistic. I'm like, look, I believe seemingly, apparently, Patrick Crusius is autistic. And then, looking at the federal case, the judge absolutely says that Patrick Crusius has a severe mental health condition, right? And I'm like, okay, he's autistic. He's autistic, and he has other things, right? He has a lot of mental health conditions, and then of course, um, and then of course, Joe Spencer says it years ago. He is recorded saying that his client has autism, that he had trouble speaking. He was like nonverbal for a long, long time. Um, and he used to hit himself. The teachers would have to uh, put him off into a separate area because he would get frustrated and start hitting himself. I've been in classrooms like that. That the neighbors would say that when he was 3 years old, he would be banging his head on the sidewalk. That he failed kindergarten. I mean, the evidence is this is not me. This is the evidence that is clearly available to everybody that we have collected because the Walmart mass shooting case is hiding Richard's truth. And we want to get to Richard's truth, right? So we want to know what happened to our son. And these two cases are very connected, very, very, very connected. I call them interwoven, interwoven. So, and Patrick Crucius, being in that kind of mind, when you go and evaluate that, he doesn't have the capacity to have like a hate crime. You understand? He doesn't have that capacity. So knowing that he doesn't have that capacity, because when you're autistic, you're looking inside. You don't care about other people. You don't care about other people. Look, Joe Spencer even told him, look, my backside is 100% brown. Do you have a problem with that? And Patrick Crucius is confused. He didn't care about Joe Spencer's color of his backside, right? He doesn't care. And he says, I don't have racism. So, because when you're autistic, you look more, you're very inward looking. You're not outward looking, so does it make sense to me? Absolutely. It makes sense to me that Patrick Crucius does not have the capacity to commit a hate crime because he doesn't have the capacity to be racist. He doesn't have that mental capacity. And when you look at who he surrendered to, he surrendered to a Hispanic law enforcement officer. Okay. If he minutes before was so enraged, like Ernest Christopher Grant said, right? Ernest Christopher Grant absolutely needs to be prosecuted for what he did because, look, the evidence, they already called him uh, a liar. They already called him a liar, right? And why haven't they arrested him for lying like that and so divisive? And why is this all? And how is this connected to Beto O'Rourke? And how is this connected to President Trump? And how is this connected to Richard Halliday? Well, here they're putting together, crafting this narrative, creating a tool, creating an instrument to use against or to use within a political campaign. That's what they're doing. They're crafting an instrument to use in a political campaign. They're using the Walmart mass shooting to craft a narrative that's fake, that's false, that is pedal pushing fake news, that is disinformation, whatever you want to call it, a propaganda to use in a political campaign. And, so we know 100% that Patrick Crucius does not have the capacity, that he is not a racist, because we have the evidence for it. And my point is what the heck is Bob Moore on January 27th, 2025, still peddling this fake instrument for a political campaign? Why is he still peddling it? When he has, and he knows, he follows this case, and he knows that we have submitted to the authorities these audio recordings, that we have given that to the public, the audio, not all of them, not all of them, but, you know, enough for the public to know that Joe Spencer absolutely admitted, that corroborated with Loretta Lynn Hewitt, the prosecutor in the case, that Patrick Crusius is not uh, what they say. And was he involved in the Walmart case? Absolutely, he was involved. Of course, he was there, right? We have a picture of him, and we also have his surrender, two surrenders. He surrendered twice. That uh, I don't want to confuse you, but he surrendered twice. The first time he was sent back away. I guess he did it a little bit too early. It's like, Patrick, go away. You're a little bit too early. Come back now. Okay, so then when he came back, you know, he was just waiting, I guess. He was so calm. He was so clean. He was so clean. He wasn't sweating. He wasn't yelling. He wasn't hateful to the Hispanic. He was, and you're talking about Ernest Christopher Grant, which I can't repeat what he said. It's so, so violent. It's so horrible what he said about Patrick Crusius. And I don't know if Patrick Crusius knows what was said about him. And of course, where's his family? Where's his family? It seems like he's been abandoned. And he was absolutely used by Beto O'Rourke for an instrument in his political campaign, to use it against President Trump. It didn't work. It didn't work because President Trump, uh, I mean, it wasn't really, uh, it was really Beto. He just is unqualified. He is just unqualified. And of course, I have a picture of him with Danae Katzen. They're, huggy huggy. Um, the peddler of fake news too. The peddler of lies and fake news. That is what, four times now she's been on the 10 most wanted. This is the people that, Beto O'Rourke associates with. This is, she's been on the 10 most wanted list for the El Paso Police Department, sheriff's one. And this is the person that Bob Moore associates with Leilani Hart, with um, KTSM, right? They're all connected through all of that. With the Mexican counterpart, um, Dario. Yeah, it is very, very telling. And here, Patrick Crusius is totally clean, totally calm, and surrenders himself again. And where is the news to tell us the real story? You have to come here. You have to come here to Richard Halliday's family's pleading every day investigation that we were told to do. We were ordered to do that through the CID. If we wanted to move our son's case forward, we would have to investigate ourselves and bring them leads. Well, does the American people or El Pasoans have to investigate the Walmart mass shooting to bring it forward? I mean, you've been waiting over 5.5 years. And clearly, we have the evidence for you. Clearly, Patrick Crusius, was he the mastermind of all of this? I don't think so. I don't think he was the mastermind. No, I don't think so. And so there's more investigation that needs to be done. But, you know, they know already. And now I think because they have this freeze on the Walmart mass shooting, they're asking for a total freeze. That April hearing is not going to come about. I don't think they're going to have a hearing until, I don't know. I don't know. We have a we have a possibility with President Trump that it can go a little quicker because right now things are just going quicker. I mean, everything is happening speedy fast, speedy fast. And and that's with obstruction, y'all, because with the whole wall, with the whole border, there's obstruction. You have you have people that are trying to protect their cash cow, right? Their cash flow. They're trying to protect that criminal activity that they were cashing in on. And it's called criminal trafficking. And it's in connection with the Mexican cartels. And now they are terroristic organizations. So they're looking at, really stiff penalties, maybe even the death penalty for what they've done, for what they're doing. And to obstruct the federal uh, directives that are coming through about immigration. And, I know at the time of the confession that Leilani Hart submitted, notarized, swore to, that she had an immigration problem. So, um, I think ICE needs to look into that. I think they need to look into that. Um, and, whatever it takes to get our son's remains legally, legally. We want to use the power of the legal system. We want the legal system to hold these criminals accountable. That's what we pay them for. We want our judicial system to work. We want our law enforcers to work, to do their job. And right now, we demand that they arrest Leilani Hart. She has to be arrested for her crimes against exploitation, the most terrible types of exploitation of children, and for her uh, seemingly immigration problems. So there is no other way around that. And Bob Moore needs to also be a little bit more truthful and revealing to the public because he is a subject of active and ongoing investigations for his for for his wrongdoings, for him being up to no good, for him being a pedal pusher of false information and bias information. What, for Beto O'Rourke again? For what? To to allow the criminal trafficking to flow, but not the water, not the justice? Sorry, I want the water to flow. I want justice to flow. And when President Trump ordered those spigots open in California, which have been closed for a long time, making people suffer there, being the cause of destruction. You can only take so many minutes of a shower. You can't water your lawn. Everything has to be bone dry. No, no. They live right there on the ocean. The water comes from Canada, from Washington and Oregon. Washington and Oregon have so much water. It rains all the time. It rains. My dad's from Portland, Oregon. It rains all the time. All of that water flows down right into California. California has one of the, if not the richest soil in the world. And he opened the spigots. That's like the age of gold, the golden age. The golden age. That water is like more precious than gold. That's what that is. Talk about cheap food. You get that water on that land and throw out some seeds. Oh my gosh, it's like gold. It's going to be so unbelievable. Well, and and they have some very good wine out there. They have artichokes, they have almonds, they have you get that water flowing, it's going to be magnificent. Magnificent. And it's going to be just a beautiful thing for our economy, and we can have legal immigration. Legal immigration, not people coming over to become part, to become, well, recruited into the cartels, into criminal groups. Because let me tell you, that whole drug Sinaloa cartel, oh my gosh, it's all over the place. That needs to go away. And we need to have good, productive jobs. That water flowing, that, we need to celebrate for California. And we need that water and that justice flowing right there into El Paso. Because I'm of this belief, and this is my belief now, that El Paso is an ancient city, and there used to be a lot of water. I'm thinking it was a star fort with Juarez. With Juarez, at once upon a time, because there's a grid there, and there's all this underground. And I know, and the reason why I say that is because Mexico, was Mexico City, absolutely stunning city. Once upon a time, absolutely stunning. It was like Venice, right? Venice. Stunning. And I've never been there. I would love to go there. And, El Paso is just absolutely a beautiful city, but it needs water and it needs justice. It needs border control. It needs people that love El Pasoans. It needs people that love those that live in Juarez. We don't need all of this murdering, this exploitation of children, the trafficking, all the gun trafficking, all the ammo trafficking, all this crime. It's miserable. It's hell. And we've been in hell with the murder of, in the line of duty, of our son. And these fake news pedal pushers like Bob Moore that are absolutely essential for the criminal cartels, because they have to cover up constantly their criminal activity and negotiate and do all their little shifting and bribery and all that stuff. And they have to do their blackmail, so they have to frame people and get them in compromising positions and then videotape them. And then, that it just ruins families. It ruins life. It's terrible. And Bob Moore is just their propaganda piece, their PAO to cover up this criminal, and sure, okay, they make money. They make money. But money, they're not happy. Leilani Hart is a miserable person. Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia is a miserable person. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they are just so happy. But that's not what Danae told me. That's not what that's not what they've told me. They've told me their miserable, vile, vulgar lifestyle. That's what they've told me. And they live to harass, to intimidate, to threaten, to deceive. It's miserable. It's miserable. And so, what Bob Moore has done, he's so disgraced. He's so disgraced. And to continue to use a false narrative to mislead the people about the Walmart mass shooting instead of getting to the truth, to relieve the people of the millions of dollars that this case is costing them on top of all the harm. Yeah. Um he's just evil man. Just an evil man. And yeah. So thank you for coming here to get some truth. Um and it's not my truth, it's Joe Spencer's truth. Um, because he's the one that made the audio tapes. It's Leilani Hart's truth because she's the one that wrote the affidavit and swore to it. Um, and we're just reporting on the evidence that is being exposed in our son's case that we have documented and filed. And that is why there's a freeze on the Walmart case. That is why, um, this whole El Paso uh, magistrate court, criminal law magistrate court, it's going to be interesting what happens. It's going to be interesting because they have to address it. And it's going to be interesting what happens to Chief Medical Examiner Mario Reskin Ortiz. That has to be addressed. And Veronica Escobar's crimes have to be addressed. So it's all happening, and it is why our documenting all the evidence that springs up. It just keeps springing up, and we document it and we file it, and that is why the Department of Defense had to declare Richard the truth. He's been exonerated, y'all. He's a hero. Active duty soldier, Fort Bliss whistleblower, distinguished honor graduate, two-time distinguished honor graduate for basic training and advanced individual training, guidon bearer, and whistleblower of the criminal trafficking, also reporting to Child Protective Services to help the children, to do what's right, to not be corrupted, to not be compromised. They tried, they couldn't compromise him. And he stood up, he stood his ground, he stood brave, he stood tall, he stood with good character, and they murdered him. They put him through hell and they murdered him in the line of duty, in uniform, in the line of duty. And that has been confirmed by the Department of Defense. And we want our son's remains, and we want those that did this to him to be held accountable and to face the full power of the law. And I will pray really hard that they will face the death penalty. So, thank you so much. God bless you. And I will be back tomorrow, God willing. Bye bye.